I was reading an article by Jack Kornfield on vulnerability and the tender heart. And he talks about how most of us have been conditioned since childhood to view courage and strength in the form of a fighter, a warrior, some intrepid explorer facing danger. But in our practice, we learn the greater courage and strength is not demonstrated by aggressive toughness or nose to the grindstone effort. The strong heart, the courageous heart, is one that is willing to open fully to ourselves and to the world. Cultivating our holding environment helps create a safe, strong space from which we can let our heart risk being open and vulnerable, as Lee so sweetly talked about last week. A tender, kind, and strong holding space is our foundation and comfort in courageously facing the pain and sorrows of life. The truth that life is difficult and stressful and impermanent. And I'd like to share a story of how I recently gained a deepened awareness of the importance of cultivating these aspects of my holding environment. My bodhisattva cat, Sari, was an important part of my external and internal holding environment for the past 17 years. And just as Bill uses the phrase, "I'm still a good person," to hold himself kindly, my mantra to be compassionate with myself when I screwed up or was unskillful is, well, my cat still loves me, which was true. And this past Friday, after several weeks of her ailing and fading, we decided together with our vet to assist Sari in dying peacefully. That morning, I woke up with her in bed, snuggled next to my head as she often was in the morning. I realized this would be the last time we woke up snuggled together. And I wanted to spend time in that quiet, pre-dawn space, really savoring those precious moments. Doing my best to hold her and me within the holding environment of my heart, mind, body. As you might imagine, the heartache and tears of sadness and loss began welling up. While I could acknowledge those feelings, I also recognized a conditioned aversive reaction kicking in of holding them back, blocking them, pushing them away. I was able to appreciate the noticing of this automatic reaction and also of all the long-term conditioning that had contributed to it. The lessons on being stoic in the face of pain and sadness, stiff upper lipping it, the strength that meant stuffing my feelings. I was able to notice that the more I tried to stop the flow of tears, the more physical heartache I felt. I was aware of the tightness, constriction, pushing against, and realized that that aversion only increased my suffering. And perhaps you've had this experience of trying to hold back tears or seeing a child with their lip quivering, trying to hold back the tears. And for me, as I did so, my breathing became more ragged and shallow. The tears became a constriction in my throat, and it felt like a hand was squeezing my heart. And I went back and forth from aversion to being held in my holding environment, and I could feel into the increased pain and suffering of pushing away and the relief of when I chose to return to my holding space and feel comforted and kindly attended to again and again, and listen to what my tears and sadness needed in order for me to stay present with my dear Sari and feel comforted and at ease. I could create a bit more space, not try to shove my feelings out the door, but open the doors and windows of my heart more widely so that the tears could simply flow. And I and my heart could connect more deeply with Sari. As I relaxed and softened around my sadness and just let crying wash through, I could feel my body become more at ease and the pain decreased. I could allow myself to be with the vulnerability of loss and the sadness and realize it's not the sadness that was out to hurt me or do me harm. It was my armoring up around my sadness that was adding to my suffering. I appreciated that this was what strength was about. A holding environment strong enough to allow difficult, uncomfortable, and painful feelings to flow through without restriction. I could experience the strong arms of my holding environment that could hold me with tenderness and kindness and gently let tears and sadness simply be. I experienced this awareness in a much more visceral way, a more embodied way. The wisdom of welcoming all without aversion. This wasn't just a cognitive awareness or an intellectual understanding. This was deeply felt. Intellectually, even before this experience, I could have explained and told you the value of honoring feelings and how we add to our suffering when we try to push away feelings with aversion. But this was a remembering to remember, a deeper embodied experience, a whole heart, mind, body, breathing understanding of what it meant to rest in the kindness and strength of a holding environment. And the strength that lies in its openness to pain and in having the willingness to be with that pain courageously and vulnerably. There was much gratitude for my cultivating my holding environment over many years in little ways, in small ways of courage and willingness, strengthening it with kindness, compassion, and discernment that allowed me to be more fully present with this moment of loss, this moment of sadness and grieving with more open-heartedness and with noticing, as Susan would say, noticing the aversion and then choosing to let it go, releasing it. and the fruits of this practice that also allowed me to feel more fully love and gratitude for all the joy, comfort, and wisdom Sari had brought to my life. I'm especially appreciative of the gentle strength my holding environment provided, that safe and comforting space from which I could have the courage to be vulnerably present with my dear Sari in those extraordinarily precious moments that I'll always treasure. Thank you, Sari, for your gentle comfort and all the lessons that you are continuing to teach me, my dear Bodhisattva cat. And thank you all, my Bodhisattvas, for being present here this morning. And let's practice shoring up our holding environments. And as always, checking in first with the body. What movements can be beneficial in this moment? Morning, noon, afternoon, evening. Any stretches that can help with loosening, softening, releasing what's gotten tight or knotted or constricted. Just noticing what can help with this opening up process. Any twisting to loosen up the spine. Any adjustment that might help the base feel more comfortably stable and steady as the foundation for holding whatever arises moment by moment. Checking in with breathing with perhaps a few deeper than usual breaths. Aerating, opening those doors and windows to our heart minds. And feeling into the gently strong arms of our holding environment, resting there with our flow of experience as we invite in our minds to perhaps be a bit more still and at ease as we come to this caring place of rest, comfort, and attention. Attending to our needs in this moment with that just right level of caring energy. Kind friendliness. Taking a moment to check back in. Just what could be useful for the holding environment in this moment. Some steadying, softening, comforting, tending just once more to what's needed. Breathing in strength, breathing out tenderness, breathing in kindness, breathing out courage. And in the remaining minute of this practice, perhaps opening our heart door awareness just a bit more to feel into gratitude for the holding environment of this Sangha. Thank you for your practice.